All right. Hi, everybody. I wanted to welcome everybody to the office hours today. I'm going to leave everybody muted for the meeting, so that way I can, try and cruise through a little bit of what I wanted to cover in the and just kind of walking through an event, but then also handle some questions as they come up in the conversation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my chat. And every time I do an office hours, I have varying levels of success when I open up my chat. It's once I share my screen, which I'm going to do right now, see, my chat disappears, and I don't know. Hopefully, let's see. Just real quick, and hopefully that is my chat. I don't know, it's weird. It's like, it looks like Zoom changed the way they do things. We're actually going to talk about Zoom today, and let's see. There we go. Okay, now I got my chat. I'm much more confident now that I have that. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the EventStream service with ClickBid and how it gets used properly, how you want to think about it, and then answer questions. So if you have questions during my spiel, go ahead and ask, and I will jump on those and answer those as they come in and when I get a chance. Here, I'm going to admit one more person. And all right, so let me put that down here too. Good. So first things first, if you ever have questions after this meeting, one of the things, if you go to our corporate website, we have a page called Virtual Event Resources. Virtual Event Resources has information, tutorials, walkthroughs on broadcasting video with OBS, basic broadcasting without OBS using some of the built-in tools that we have, and then also Zoom. And I did want to, I've been using OBS recently in my office hours. I just wanted to show you quickly first how I would use Zoom to include people from different areas that are not centralized at my event. So if I had people in different parts of the country that I wanted to bring in, I'll show you how I would do that. So you can find information here. There's some use case articles, some frequently asked questions, and then if you're looking for specific, maybe some resources to produce video, these are here too. You can always let me know if you need any help with video production and that kind of thing. But the other thing I wanted to point out is the checklist. So something we put together that you can use to kind of plan out and make sure you're staying on track with some of the things that you would be doing with a virtual event. And so I created kind of a sample event that I'm going to have next week, maybe Saturday, and simulating that it's, you know, the Sunday before, and I'm going to start doing different things from, you know, Sunday through next Saturday. And I've got some to-do items here. So the day before, I want to take a look at my auction items, and then I want to do some, you know, social sharing and so on, and then so, you know, all the way through here. It's ironic, but my neighbor has decided, I'm working from home today, my neighbor has decided to build something out right outside my window. So hopefully that doesn't bother you guys as much as it bothers me. So anyway, as you can see, this is a to-do list of things that help you build and plan for your event. All the way to this graphic here, I do like to call this out in all my meetings, because one of the more complicated elements of trying to get your head around, if you're not somebody who does, you know, video streaming or broadcasting, how do we actually physically set up the event on Saturday night? If we're going to use Zoom, if we're going to use OBS, do we have a dedicated computer? If we're going to have a live auction, do we need another dedicated computer, and so on? And that's really what this you know, visual here represents. You would, if you had a live auction or a paddle raise, then we would recommend that you have 2 dedicated computers. If you're just doing a broadcast, even if it's to show pre-recorded video, maybe a live component with a foundation president, then you would dedicate a computer just to that. So that's that's how that works as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. All right, good. So this is a great document to have. I'm going to go ahead and forward this to you guys. Once this is done, I'll have the recording that I can send to you as well. So let's first talk about auction items. If it is, this is before my event. My event kicks off, tomorrow morning, for instance, and on this coming Saturday, I'm going to have my actual, broadcasted event from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So in order for me to get this going, I need to take a look at my auction items and make sure that they're all set up properly. And I can see here just immediately, they're definitely not. I have, they're all closed, invisible, and so on. Well, I want to fix that. I want to get them set up so that way you can, people can bid on them. And so I'm going to choose Show All. Then I'm going to select all my auction items. And I'm going to change the status to active. And this is the batch update area. This allows me to change one or more or all of my items at once if I want to do kind of a bulk update. So I want to set the closing time. Let's see if I have this. To Saturday night at 9 p.m. So I want to turn them all on. And this would represent where I'm at in the process right now, is if I've collected, a handful of auction items and I'm ready to make sure that we're good to go and ready to, to start auctioning them. So I'm going to press OK. And now all of my auction items are set to close on 9/19 at 9 p.m. and they're all active, except for this credit item, which we're going to ignore. And I have some silent items, I have some live items, and then most importantly, what I want to look at are these live EventStream items. Now what that means is if I click on 2-year lease of the Ford Mustang, I have the name of the item, it's active, this is the item number, the closing time is 9 p.m. on Saturday, and then I have the item type, which is set to live. And this we've had for quite a while. You would have a live auction item, you'd set it aside, people would be able to bid on it in person, and then when somebody wins the item, we go ahead and add the live bid in Butler, under here, Event Central Butler. We would add that live bid, and that person would pay for it. However, what we added this spring was the ability to allow live bids. And what that means is not only can somebody add a bid in Butler, we're allowing people to bid on it for a very specific amount of time from their mobile device. So from their phone, tablet, laptop, whatever, they can bid in real time with everybody else at the event on the floor raising their paddle. Or everybody's bidding on it from home. Right now we're having a hard time doing events in person, so everybody's bidding from home. But still, everything is run the way it's typically run by an auctioneer who says, okay, for the next 2 minutes, we're going to auction this item and go, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, so on. Once you choose to allow live bids, you would then set a starting bid and a bidding increment. This is oftentimes decided by an auctioneer, but if you're doing this before you talk to the auctioneer, you might think, where would I set this? I would usually do 40% of the market value. So if I knew that this 2-year lease of a Ford Mustang was $10,000, that was the value, I might start the bidding at 4,000 and my increments will be 1,000. The nice thing about setting these in advance is that there's less work to do right before they open this for people to bid on it. If you leave it as default settings, this would be set to $5 and I think maybe $1 increments. Well, that's not going to work. We need to change that. So I prefer to set these up beforehand. When you're done with that, you can put pictures in here, and then you can, add a description, just like you can with any regular auction item. But then when you're done, you can press complete and go back. And now my 2-year lease is set up and good to go. I can see here the starting bid and the raise. So if I want to just quickly look in my catalog of 400 auction items, which ones are EventStream, I can just type EventStream in my tags, and it'll filter all of my tags or my items to just EventStream. And then I can quickly look to see that they have a reasonable starting bid and a minimum raise value, again, that's reasonable. Your auctioneer may decide at the last minute, hey, this isn't good, you need to change this, but then that's okay. You just click on it and your starting bid can be, $3,500. And then that would update it. I do need to apologize up front, and this is kind of a sidebar. My awesome, lovely dog, Blue, is sleeping right next to the camera, and she's snoring. So if you hear snoring, that's what it is. It's my dog, I promise. Maybe I'll bring her in here in a minute. She's done this other times when I've done these meetings, and again, it's, I'm just riddled with distraction today. So anyway, hopefully that's not something you're hearing, but if it is, it's my dog. I love my dog. So anyway, you would get those set up. You can change the starting bids, before the event. But once you get into the event stream, the live event, you really want to keep them, keep them where they're at. Now, we did have one question: can people bid ahead of the live auction on the items, like in the silent, and then also open it to the live auction? So that's a good question. It's almost, we've had this over the years where somebody will do a silent, they'll set their live items up as silent auction items, meaning people can bid on them from their phone without being considered a live item. And then they go to a live auctioneer at the event, almost like an incentive. You've got us to our starting bid, and now we're going to actually do the live auction at the event. And so the question is, can we really do this? Can we do kind of the same thing here? I guess technically you could, and I'll show you how the live auction works. I typically don't, over the years when this has been asked, I've typically shied away from it, only because when you do a live auction before a live auction, or you allow bidding on a live auction item before a live auction, pretty much everybody knows that none of those bids are going to count, because the live auctioneer is going to, if even one bid comes in at the live auction, then that's the one that matters. So really, you're taking advantage of just getting the bids going, and it's not, I would just recommend set a reasonable starting bid and let people bid on it at that specific time. It keeps things a little bit more simple, and then you'll have less questions to answer, because you'll get people asking, hey, I didn't come to the live auction, I tried to place a max bid, for instance, but did that go? And it's like, well, I thought this item should have sold for more because I was willing to pay more. And it just creates a lot of drama that you could avoid by just auctioning those live items at the appropriate time of the live auction. And that would be my recommendation. So I wouldn't do pre-bidding on live. I would set it aside, send out an email to tell everybody the live auction will begin at 7 p.m. We're going to have it, televised, quote unquote, with our auctioneer. And, then people will be there for that specific thing. And that will be the actual live auction. So I've gone ahead and I've set up my auction items. And again, if you go through the checklist, it would tell you, okay, time to send out an email and tell everybody, hey, tomorrow morning, we're going to open up the auction. So go to the site now and register to bid. So under software settings, landing page content, I want to cruise over here. And then I want to make sure that my landing page, or what we've affectionately called the virtual venue, that's set up right. So that way when people start hitting it, then they'll be able to see what you want them to see. You've previewed it, made sure it's good. And when people are registering, you're getting the information you want. So I have my landing page content set up here in my admin. Then I want to pop open another window called landing page under Event Central. And this is my landing page. Now, this is what it looks like on my big monitor. If I were to look at it on a tablet or a phone, I can use Google's tools here, the inspect tools, and it'll simulate what it'll look like on a phone. And so I have, this is my landing page, my virtual venue. And the reason I have these open on two tabs is that I can make changes here, and then I can come over here and refresh and see how they look. So under login register area, I want to make sure that open auction early is yes. And I want to allow people to register. that means they can freely register, put in a credit card if I require that, and then they can bid in the silent auction. And then can guests check out from phone? In the virtual world that we live in now, absolutely, you definitely want that. Then you can change some of the content area, some text that goes beneath it and so on. I'm not going to get too much into the landing page content because that's not really part of EventStream, but just to get things set up, I do want to make sure my register now is on, and I have my require address and require credit card set the way I want it, and then letting people check out from their phone. When that's good, I'll be able to see my register button, and then I can register as a bidder to participate in the auction. The other thing I might do tonight, if I'm opening tomorrow, is say, hey folks, at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm going to jump on just a real impromptu video and introduce the auction, give you guys some instructions, tell you a little bit about what we're doing, a quick update, and then you can be on your way. But that's going to happen at 10 o'clock. So be sure to be logged in as a bidder when that happens, and you'll be able to watch our live broadcast. So I'm going to pause for a second and see a couple questions here. Looks like, yep, this is a Kindful question. Kindful is a CRM tool that is used to manage donors, donor management system like Salesforce, Neon, and so on. So if you're allowing people, this is a good question. The question is, in general terms, is if we're allowing people to register somewhere else, whether it's maybe through ClickBid's ticket page or a registration page through, Classy or something, then the question is, do we want to turn off register to bid? And I would say, generally speaking, yes, because you don't want to have, 3 or 4 different ways that somebody can get into your account as a bidder. Because if they registered to buy tickets to the event, even a virtual event, maybe you sold virtual tickets for $25 in order to be a bidder, watch the video stream and so on, and then you allow people to just register freely, then there's a disconnect. I may register twice accidentally, and I didn't want to do that. So if you are going to use a third party or a different method of registering, it might be a good idea to turn that register button off in the landing page content. But if you're just opening it up to anybody to register, then you can turn it on, and that's right here under register yes. And then the other question was, if we do keep it, is there a way to enable credit card transactions for the people signing up? So it's really an on-off switch. So the question is, if we do keep the register to bid on and require credit card, but we didn't require credit card in the other registration page, that gets a little bit messy. And what I would normally say is, I think what I'd always say is, don't require credit card, because if you can't transfer a credit card from a third party to ClickBid, there's PCI rules that don't let you do that. And if I registered with a credit card from ClickBid and I checked out, but I had a registration as a ticket purchaser somewhere else, then again, it creates that confusion. So to me, I would just turn off the register now button, and then, get people in through the register page. And then that way, again, it's keeping it simple. It's kind of like the live auction question. So I'm going to go ahead and log in though. I made myself a very simple bidder, and I'm going to log in. And I see here that I can start bidding in the auction. So I opened it early. So let's say it's Monday morning and I've logged myself in to bid. And now I'm getting ready because, my email that I got last night said, hey, Matt, be sure to log in because at 10 o'clock, we're going to do a live feed. And as the organizer, I want to use Zoom to make that happen. So what I would do is, in my Zoom account, I'm going to pop open a new tab here, and I'm going to go to zoom.us. And then I'm going to log into my account. Now, one of the things, of course, I always wonder if I'm just going to give away passwords by doing this, but probably not. So in Zoom, you have, as long as you're using the Pro version, I think it's a $15 a month fee, and that's what I'm using here, is you can go down to your settings, And Zoom has recently, maybe 3-4 months ago, allowed people to take whatever they're doing in Zoom and send it to a service like YouTube, Facebook, you know, Vimeo, and that kind of thing. So you can set up a Zoom meeting, and whatever's going on in the Zoom meeting, you can send it to ClickBid using our credentials. The way to make that happen is you click on settings, and then it brings open this area here, and there's security, schedule meeting, and then meeting advanced. So let's click on that. It scrolls me all the way down the page, and then I keep going a little bit until I see allow live streaming meetings. By default, I think Facebook and YouTube are turned on. I just turn them all off. The one I want is custom live streaming service. ClickBid is the custom live streaming service that you're going to send it to. So I just check that, and that's it. Then when I load my meeting and I start it, so let's say it's, again, it's 9:55 or 9:50 in the morning on Monday, and I'm the host. I want to get everybody logged in and watching my video. Then what I would do is I would go to Zoom, I'd launch my meeting, and we're going to kind of multitask here because I'm actually in Zoom with you guys. We're doing this meeting, so I'm actually going to broadcast this to my EventStream. So it's a little trippy trying to get your head around that a little bit, but what I want to do before I get there is I open up my admin, and then I'm going to go to the live broadcast page. And then scroll down to the technical details, because I'm going to use all this stuff here. It looks like a bunch of garbage. If you're not a you know, nerd, this looks goofy, but we're going to just click some copy buttons. Be simple. Now, what you can't see is that I have my Zoom application open and I'm in my meeting. And when you check that box to allow streaming, you can, once you've started a meeting, you can click a more button. And then there's a new option available called Live on Custom Live Streaming Service. And what I'm going to try and do, take a picture of my computer, because you guys I don't think can see that. And then since I'm sharing my screen, I can show you what I just did. I went into my Zoom, and then I went here to more, and then I'm going to click on Live on Custom Live Streaming Service. So that is what I'm going to click on. So I'm going to close my screen capture. Kind of feels like we're in the Matrix. I'm like showing you video of video stuff. So it's always kind of trippy. So in Zoom, I'm going to go back to that, more Live on Custom Live Streaming Service. And then it's going to pop open this preparing to live stream the meeting. Yeah. Let me mute my broadcast. So where did it go? I want to go back to that screen. Huh, must have gone away quickly because I chose it, and then it says meeting is now streaming on live custom live streaming service. So what it did before it got to that page, because remember it went away quickly. Maybe what I can do is stop live stream and then hit it again. And see, it went to this. Because I've already got my credentials logged in from a previous example, it's taking me right to my live streaming service. So what I want to do is I want to show you, here we go again. Sorry about that. Okay, mute my, this is my bid app, and notice that it's actually doing what it's supposed to do and starting my broadcast. But what, let's see, I'm going to go to, again, we're in the matrix, but if I'm going to go to virtual event resources and I have a PDF right here, and then this basically walks you through everything I'm telling you right now. And what it didn't, here we go. Remember I clicked on the live on custom live streaming. The page where it showed you it was connecting with the little blue status bar, the first time you do it, it's going to take you to a page like this. Let me zoom that in. It's going to ask you for the credentials, because remember, it's a lot like putting a letter in your mailbox to send to a friend in New Mexico. And so if you just put a letter in the mailbox, it's never going to get where it needs to go. You have to tell it where to go. You have to give it an address. And so what Zoom wants is it wants a streaming URL, it wants a streaming key, and then it wants the live streaming page URL. The good news is that we have all those for you. So what you would do is you would go back into the page that I told you to load up, and it wants the URL, the streaming path, and that's right here, the published path. So all you got to do is click copy, and then you paste it right there. Then wants the streaming key. Oh, okay, well, that's easy enough. Right here, streaming or stream key. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it. And again, this only takes a few minutes. Here we go. It only takes a few minutes, so I'm just going to paste it right in here. And then it wants the live streaming page URL. So this is the publicly available viewer that people can watch it on. You're actually going to broadcast it in people's bid site, but just to satisfy the requirement, we've given you the viewer link right here, and you can copy it. Now, as a sidebar, if you did want on Saturday night to let people who are going to watch the stream view it from your landing page or from another website or whatever, you could email them this link and they would be able to watch it without logging in. My recommendation is that you don't do that because you want to incentivize people to create a bidder account, to register to the event so that they can watch it. It's kind of like a reward. If you sign up to bid, then you can watch the live stream. If you don't sign up to bid, then all you're going to get is the recap video that we put together for next week. So again, I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to paste it in live streaming. And then when I press go live, boom, it's going to go live and it's going to start broadcasting. So you can see here in my bid site, I now have the video running in real time. And you can kind of see me, let me zoom in a little bit because again, it's small on my machine, I can only imagine. So I've zoomed it in a little bit. You can see me up in the top corner right there. Make my finger go to the right spot. So it's very, very good, very real time, very low latency is the word I'm looking for. And then everything I'm doing in Zoom, again, is broadcasting here. So you're thinking, well, that doesn't look that great, Matt. You're showing your desktop. Well, I would stop sharing my desktop, and then I would be full screen. And the same controls that you have in Zoom are the controls that manage how people look at this. So what I would do is if I'm just doing my intro video, I would just be me on the Zoom meeting. That's it. And then, however, if on Saturday night I wanted to show a video, I could share my screen. Then I could, let me find the video I want to show. And then I would load this up and hit play. And again, we're in the matrix. So if I showed this video full screen on my desktop, it would show full screen in Zoom. And then also, if I sent my Zoom link out to 2 or 3 donors or sponsors or other board members, I could invite them into my Zoom meeting and we could talk to each other and everybody would be able to join in that broadcast. And again, Zoom uses waiting rooms now. And so you can let those 3 people join the meeting, but then they sit in the waiting room like you guys did when, actually, I have people sitting in my waiting room right now. So that's great. I'd missed that. So I just let them in, but I can let them in one at a time. And when I let them in one at a time, I can have them side by side in my broadcast. I could let in 3 people at once and we'd all be sharing the screen. Or I could, you can do things when you play around with Zoom, you can do things like pinning videos, you can make this the primary video, and so on. So that way you could do a switch between me, an auctioneer, me, a donor, or I could do side by side. There's a lot of flexibility there. And, if you play around and do some samples and some, stuff, then you can kind of see how that works. And it's a lot to explain, but once you start playing around with it, it's actually really easy. for instance, if I wanted to, well, you know what, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because there's a ton of things you can do with Zoom. And if I wanted to, you know, let's see, if I wanted to pin somebody, because I'm sharing my screen, I can't do it. Thought I could. So I was gonna pin Marty to the main screen, but I can't because I'm showing my desktop. But once I'm done showing my desktop, then I could show Marty. But if I unshare my desktop, then you guys can't see it. So you know, it gets to this again, this matrix thing. So that's Zoom, and that's how that works. Now, whether you're using Zoom or OBS, you're showing your video here on the top of your mobile phone. So people at home, if they're at a viewing party, again, I gave you that link, that viewing link. If somebody wanted to do a big TV screen at their house and have some family over, they could put that full screen video on the TV, and then they could be bidding from their phone. So you can have, you know, a full blown viewing party. And that, you know, that can be pretty cool. People have done that. We've had several organizations that would report in that, you know, 10 or 12 families did these big viewing parties where they can get, you know, 10 people per the, you know, the rules of whatever your state is on COVID, and then they can watch that, and it's more of a group. So that's, you know, so whatever you're using, Zoom, OBS, if you're just using the, you know, tool available to you in this, you know, live broadcast page, you know, this launch your stream, whatever it is, it's going to show in this top window here. Now, when it's time to do the live auction, you have another laptop set up next to, or, you know, somewhere near the auctioneer, and then you go to Event Central Butler. I did want to mention one thing that has come up a few times when I've done some meetings with folks before their event and stuff like that. This live broadcast page, you know, I'm working on making it a little bit more clear, but when you're on this live broadcast page under the Event Central tab, you have this launch your stream option. This page, this top part of the page, is really meant for people who are not using OBS and they're not using Zoom. All they want to do is share their web camera to all of the bidders that are bidding in the auction. If you're going to do that, then you would just press the start button. It would connect, and then it would start broadcasting whatever's on this screen. Now, I'm using OBS, and I installed a plugin, so it gives me this, you know, kind of loading screen. But if you're using OBS, or if you're using Zoom, or if you're using Minicam or any other service outside of click to send your broadcast, then you want to grab these technical details. And that's what those codes are that you put into Zoom that I showed you, and what you put into OBS. And then when you do that, you're basically bypassing this launch your stream thing. So you don't need to press start if you're using Zoom or OBS. You actually press start in those programs, and that's it. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's come up a few times and caused a little bit of confusion. But now again, let's transition back to that person who's sitting at the chair with the laptop that's running the live auction. So we're at that time. It's 7 o'clock on Saturday. I'm going to press launch event stream. This button is available when you have items in your auction that are set up with live and allow bidding from home. And I press launch event stream. And it loads my, make sure that's muted. It loads my kind of my dashboard of the live auction. So here's a question that came in. If we pre-recorded the event, could we just use that launch your stream start button? Actually, you would want to use OBS for something like that. And in fact, I'm working with a group in Virginia, and I'll be running their event stream just to help them out, because one of the easiest ways to enter into this new world of virtual events is to do exactly that: pre-record everything, so that all you're basically doing is, if you're old, you know, if you're old as me, you know, you're just popping in a tape and hitting the play button. You know, that's really all you're doing. You know, it's just pop that tape in and hit play, and everybody watches it. that way you don't have to have cameras, you don't have to have all this other stuff. But you can't do it from the live broadcast page, because this just wants to connect to your web camera. What you would do is you would use OBS, and then you would set up that video in OBS as a source, and then essentially hit play on that, and it'll broadcast it to all of your bidders. And it's only 2:35, so I think I'll have time to show you that. And that is probably the easiest thing in the world to do when you want to get into, sorry, close that. When you want to get into a live virtual gala, it's easier to just think of it as, I'm going to hire a video team or get an intern or something. We're going to do some interviews, edit them together into a half-hour program, and then we're just going to let it play. And then during that pre-recorded program, we're going to let people, we're going to tell people how to bid. We're going to give them a tour of our facility. We're going to talk about our program. We're going to get a couple of sponsors to talk. And then we're going to ask people to give using the donate button, and so on. And that's it. It's very simple. In fact, that can be, just a real simple pop-up event. You can do that on a Saturday night on a whim and just send all of your bidders an email, and they can go in and participate, and it's very easy to do. Really, to me, it's the future. I mean, it's so simple and low cost compared to booking a venue, catering, valet, all that stuff. It can get, that can get pretty pricey. Anyway, I'm off topic, and so I can imagine half of my staff, kicking me saying, stop it. So I'm on the live stream page, and again, I'm that person sitting at the table with the live auction, and I'm ready to go, and my auctioneer is on the other side, maybe 5 feet away from me, and the camera's pointing at him or her. And then the question is, how do I show him or her what I'm seeing? The easiest way to do that is just get a second monitor, spin it around so it's facing the other direction, and just get an HDMI cable and mirror your display. You can do that on Windows, Mac. It's very easy. Just plug in that second monitor, spin it around, and then your auctioneer is going to see everything you're doing. So I have here my list of items, and I have a kind of a feed going of what everybody at home is seeing. And the auctioneer says, okay, folks, up for bid is the Chef Tony meal, dinner for 10. Now, before I press the get started on this, I'm going to break this tab off, and then I'm going to, through the power of Zoom and what we're doing here, I'm going to have this over here so you can kind of see what folks at home are seeing, and then I'm going to make this here. So now I am back in my live auction. I'm sitting at home, or I'm sitting at my desk ready to run the live auction, and this is what I see. 50 miles away on, Joe's cell phone, this is what he sees. And so the auctioneer, instead of seeing my screen that I'm sharing with you for this office hours, you're actually looking at the auctioneer, getting all excited to talk about Chef Tony. And so he says, all right, folks, we're going to auction off the Chef Tony. And so I press this to get it set up, and then it basically brings up and gets us ready to auction the, Chef Tony dinner for 10. Starting bid is going to be $1,000. And then on my bid site, if I get my Zoom stuff out of the way, I now have a bid live button that popped up. So at home, the auctioneer has told me, hey, press on that bid live button. All right, perfect. Now I press bid live, and Chef Tony for 10 pops up, and he's talking about it. And at home, I'm, maybe doing a little bit of reading, look at the picture. And then the auctioneer says, okay, folks, we're going to start the bidding at $1,000. Now at the table, I'm the volunteer, and I'm like, oh, that's my cue. I press start. So now we have decided that this auction is up for bid right now. Auctioneer says, okay, I need $1,000. Do I hear 1,000? Do I hear 1,000? So, Joe back home presses, yeah, I'll do $1,000. So I press $1,000, and now I'm winning the item. Now, as the volunteer, I see, oh, Harry Bosch just gave $1,000. Shout out to anybody that watches Harry Bosch on Amazon. I love that show. So the auctioneer says, hey, Harry Bosch, $1,000. Thanks, guys. And he sees that because, again, I have that monitor spun around. Now we're working on what we call, these are called confidence monitors in the production world, that, you know, you'll see them sometimes on the ground next to a podium so that the auctioneer can see what everybody else sees. So he needs to see that Harry Bosch just bid for $1,000, so he can keep going. Okay, $1,000, $1,000. Do I see, you know, next bid 1,500? I'm a terrible auctioneer. But let's say, as we get into hybrid events, somebody in the room says, "I'll give 1,500," and he says, "Perfect." Bidder 102 just gave $1,500, Matthew Merkins. And now the next bid is $2,000. The current bid is 1,000. The next bid is 2,000. Or the current bid is 1,500. The next bid is 2,000. And at home, Joe just got his outbid notice, and he's like, "What gives?" But he knows it because the auctioneer's shouting, 1,500. I'm like, dang it. Okay, fine. I'll do 2,000. And then now I'm winning the item. Now there's a $2,000 bid. So you can see all this momentum is starting to happen. And the way we wrote it is it's all automated. So that way, again, as the volunteer here, once I press start, I don't have to press anything else. If I want to change the next minimum bid, I can click a plus or a minus button. I can add, maybe people are bidding really fast and the auctioneer just kind of shouts out, "You know what, folks? Let's go crazy. Let's go by $1,000. Let's not do 2,500. Let's do 3,000. Well, as the volunteer, I have to let people bid 3,000. So I need to add $500 to the next bid. Now it's at 3,000. So what the auctioneer just kind of shouted out, I've been able to match it with just one button click. So now somebody raises a paddle and he says, "Thank bidder 101 for $3,000. That's amazing." So back home, I'm staying in sync. That's the important part. I'm staying in sync. So now I press 4,000, and now, you know, doggone it, I'm not losing this thing. I gotta have it. And so, you know, Harry's back in the lead. The auctioneer's losing a little steam. Maybe he knocks off $500 from the next bid. Do I hear 4,500? Because again, you've got to keep your people at home in sync. So your volunteer is controlling, you know, what the auctioneer is saying. Nobody's going for it, and the auctioneer's, "All right, 4,500 going once, 4,500 going twice, 4,500 sold to Harry Bosch. Thank you so much." And then back home, I've got a "You won this item." And again, the button goes away. In order for the auctioneer to, you know, be correct and say it's sold, I have to take the button away from everybody that can bid on it. So that way they don't keep the bidding going. And that in that moment is dynamic. It's dynamic in that, you know, the auctioneer just decides, like, right now, okay, we're done, sell it, and then I press the sell button. And what happens next is I just move on to the next auction item, click the next one until they're all gone, which in this case, they're all sold. Then when the auctioneer says, "Okay, folks, we've reached that point of the event where we want people to give from the heart. This is an incredible organization. You know, all the money goes to, juvenile diabetes research, and we're gonna set this up so that you can be a part of that." And so our goal is to reach $20,000 tonight, and we want everybody at home to follow along. And again, now Joe is at home, and Joe's going to see, after a few seconds, Joe's going to see this: "To participate, please close this window and press donate." And the auctioneer is saying, "Okay, folks, let's get those wallets out. Let's do this. Let's all have 100% participation." And the volunteer clicked on the cash donation because that's what we're moving on to. We switched out the details, and we're showing the increments here that are available to people at home: 5,000, 2,500, 1,000, 500. And then I press that, and then I press donate, and now I can give that 5,000, 2,500, 1,000, 500 from home. And I can do it again, all in real time. So the auctioneer has now transitioned to, "Okay, folks, let's do this. Let's get some money coming in." And I give $1,000. Now, what happened in the studio, the auctioneer has just seen Harry Bosch. He's a real generous guy. He gave another $1,000. So I want you to watch this right here, and I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to press, donate. I'm going to give 5,000. Yes. And then boom, there it is. In real time, it's showing up for the auctioneer and for everybody in the studio to say, "Whoa, another $5,000. So it's all happening, boom, 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 one after another. and those are coming in. And now we're at 24,000. So yeah, that's that's amazing, folks. I can't believe this, the turnout. And I will say this on the side, we've had a lot of organizations, if there's any kind of uncertainty or nervousness of should we even do a live event like this and undertake, everything Matt's saying sounds great, but wow, I'm not technical. I don't know how to do this. People are doing this. They're doing a great job. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's been so forgiving, such a wonderful, response from our charities, and people are really raising a lot of money. So I would encourage you, if you're a little bit on the fence of whether you want to do an appeal or a live auction or even a broadcast, it's definitely worth it, because people love to see that interaction. They're seeing this happen. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as the auctioneer, I've gotten to that point. We did the 24,000, and the volunteer is clicking these buttons, and it's done. So now we're just going to wrap up. We're maybe going to show a final thank you video that we had edited. So we've kind of done bookends. We did a pre-recorded video that has all the elements in it. We went to one live camera where we had an MC do a real-time appeal, and then we're going to end with a pre-recorded thank you video, and that's it, and it's done. The broadcast is over. So that is a very simple, very easy to do presentation. And so what I want to do is I want to stop and jump over to OBS. And this actually is a good question for that, is can the Launch the Appeal thermometer page be fed into a virtual event so that the guests can see it? Absolutely. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this video. I'm going to go to OBS. And I just opened up OBS. Now, where did I get this? You're like, Matt, slow down. Okay, where did I get it? I'm going to close my live stream, my EventStream live auction. I'm going to come back to my live broadcast page under Event Central. I'm going to scroll down to the technical details, and I see here this RTMP publicly available OBS version. This link right here takes me to a page that I can download freely available the OBS software. So when it's downloaded, I can go ahead and pop that open, and I'm going to see this right here. I'm going to see this window. It's going to look pretty basic, but what I can do is I can start building my program. So like I said, I want to show a video, then I want to show the appeal, then I want to show another video. So I need 3 scenes. Actually, I'm going to do 4 scenes. This is the getting ready scene, and I'm going to it comes default with the first scene. I'm going to press plus on the sources, and I'm going to choose color source, and I'm going to say okay, and then I'm going to choose a color that's going to be red. Kind of alarming. Let's do blue. Then I'm going to choose text. So I'm building my scene, and I'm going to say get ready. And that is my get ready scene. So I've created kind of a layered element here. Now, what I'm going to do is go back to, I'm going to stop my live stream from Zoom that we did earlier, because I'm going to start streaming it through OBS. Because again, you pick one or the other, OBS or Zoom. Now we're going to use OBS. Before I start streaming that, I'm going to add another scene, and I'm going to call it video 1. Call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to choose media source. Then I'm going to say okay, because you can call it whatever you want. And now I need to go find that media file. So I'm going to go to my downloads folder. My video person sent it to me, and they sent it to me, and I downloaded it. And now I'm just going to pop it in here, and then it created my video scene. I'm going to scale it down a little bit just to make sure it fits. You can grab, what's nice about OBS is you can grab these corner dots or squares. You can click and drag it and make it as big or small as you want. But I just want it to be full screen. So that's video 1. Then I'm going to create another scene, and I'm going to call it camera / thermometer. and I'm going to press OK. And then I'm going to add a scene, and I'm going to call it video capture device. And I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to choose my web camera. I'm going to say OK. Hi, everybody. Then I'm going to add what's called a browser. I'm going to hit OK, and then it's going to want a website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to ClickBid. I'm going to go to Items, Manage Items, and find that cash donation item. Click on it, come down to Projected Display Settings, and we've created a publicly available website that you can send somebody to see the appeal. I'm just going to right-click and choose Copy Link Address, tab back over to OBS, paste that bad boy right there, and now I have a thermometer. I can move that over to the side. I can crop it. So let's say I just want the thermometer, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it over here. I'm going to move it off screen. I'm just going to have it sitting right here. And then maybe I'm going to move me over here. You can do whatever you want. Make it a little bigger. Not really I could probably just be good with that. And then I'm going to add one more scene. I'm going to call it last video. And then I'm going to create a source, and it's called media source again, like I did the first time. And then I'm going to pick my local video. I'm just going to pick the same one I had because I don't have many others. And then OK, and scale it down to fit. Close enough. And now I have my program. Getting ready, video 1. Auctioneer that's at the studio. When he's done, go to the final wrap-up video. Perfect. But how do I get this out? How do I get this out to my bidders? I go to my settings button, and then I go to stream, and I put in those credentials. So let's go back to ClickBid again, to the Event Central live broadcast. And then I come down here to those technical details again, and then I copy the publish path or the server, copy, and then go back to OBS, paste it, come back to ClickBid, get that stream key, copy it, and paste it. Now, once you've set this up, you don't have to set it up every time. Once I've pointed this feed to go to ClickBid, we don't change your credentials, and you don't have, and OBS doesn't reset them every time you close the program and reopen it. So you could be setting this up 2 weeks before your event, and you're golden. And that, or we could do a quick go-to-meeting, and I can help you set it up, and you're good to go. So now all I have to do to start this thing is press Start Stream. And it'll say stop stream when it's going, and it's going to give you some details here. CPU usage, you're live, I've been live for 8 seconds. Now if I go back to where I'm at as a bidder, boom, automatically started. My bidders are seeing the get ready screen. I usually recommend to get ready because I might start the stream like 5 minutes early. So that way people see it, give them a chance to join it. Then when I'm ready, I can go to, I want to make sure I mute because, there we go. So that way you can't hear me as a feedback loop. When I go to my video, I can start playing the video, and then it will start playing the video. And then when I want to cut to my camera and my thermometer, I cut to my camera and my thermometer, and then I can start getting those donations in. Now there's quite a bit of a lag right now because I'm doing so many things at once. I'm running a Zoom meeting, I'm running OBS, I'm running my webcam twice. And so there's a lot going on. My computer's probably frustrated with me. But you can see that when I'm done with my thermometer, I can go to my last video, and it'll go to my last video, and it'll finish the program. Now, again, with OBS and with Zoom, you want to have a dedicated computer to run your OBS program. Now, again, if you're running just a video and that's it, then the only thing you need is, I would recommend a getting ready slide and your video slide. That's it. And changing between the two is as easy as just clicking from here to here, and boom, you're broadcasting. Whatever you're putting on this screen is what you're broadcasting. And that's all there is to it. You even have the option to record, make a recording of it. So you can do that as well. You know, if this is your first time out, maybe that's the way to go, is just to do a nice quick pre-recorded video. You can record it on your cell phone. You can, you know, maybe record yourself and then record somebody else, put it together, and then, you know, broadcast it using OBS and just see how it goes. Kind of dip your toes in a little bit and then get people's response to it. Again, it's you know, your goal is to try and reach out to people during COVID, let people know what you're going through, how you're adapting, you know, continue to tell that story. And then maybe as you start to get used to it, then as we go back to in-person events, you know, in the spring and in the summer, depending on when we get the vaccination, you know, you can still do this. And because some people just aren't going to come back to events very quickly. Or if you have an alumni association and people are all over the country anyway, then you can use this media to really get make a better event and a better presentation. The good thing about it is it's all embedded in the bid app. So, you know, I'm bidding and all of a sudden my video pops up. Oh, cool, we're going to watch they're broadcasting. So I just keep bidding and I can either participate in a live and so on. I'm going to go back to the group chat really quick. Okay, so there hasn't been a question since that. So you can see how I added the appeal thermometer into that OBS. And so, you know, that was right here. And again, all I did was I created a source, one of my video, two of my browser. You can even add three as another text element. And then, you know, this guy. And then you can move that around. And again, you can do this all in real time. So, you know, if you're broadcasting and you want to put up a piece of text, just drop it in and move it around. And then if you want to add, you know, a music track or OBS was created, it's called open source, so people can download it for free and it's community driven. People created it so that they could do, you know, public broadcasting. You can create a whole TV studio out of this software and broadcast quality on par with a CNN or a, you know, ESPN or, you know, Newsweek or whatever. I mean, this is an incredible program. And, you know, what I'm showing you is really the tip of the iceberg, but certainly plenty for you to have a great event with. So that is pretty much, we're right on time. And I have one more question, unrelated to EventStream, but let's take a look. How do we set it up so that bidders can get texts automatically to their phone when they place a bid, get outbid, or win an item? So ClickBid has a combination of automated and not automated text messaging. When you use our mass messaging service, you get a text bidders and an email bidders option. And what that does is it allows you to send text messages when you want to. We don't automatically send them for you. You can kind of pre-write them, but then you have to hit send because we don't want to send out a text message to 500 people that you thought was a good idea yesterday when you set it up, but all of a sudden isn't a good idea now and you forgot to stop it. So we do want you to push send. However, in any version of ClickBid, no matter what version you buy, if you don't use the mass messaging, we are going to send outbid notices to any person who places a bid and then gets outbid. So that's automatic. So that's the only automated messaging that we send. I mean, technically we send a welcome text when you check into an event, but those are for more in-person events. For virtual events, you'll get an outbid notice when you've been outbid. Now I will say with the live event that I just showed you, we don't send outbid notices for that because you're there. You're there watching it, and those text messages would be really distracting when you're trying to press a bid button and then your text message app pops up and all that stuff. So, you know, if you're watching the live auction, it's not going to give you an outbid notice. You're going to see it though instantly. So that's that. So all right, well, like I said, I'm going to send you those PDFs of how to use Zoom and the pre-event checklist. If you have any questions about the event stream, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to help. I will say, if you have questions not related to EventStream or even EventStream, please feel free to use the training support, request support option, or the chat. That's going to be handled by our dedicated support team. I'm helping out with EventStream because this is a new product and I don't want to overwhelm our team. And I'm the nerd who built it. So, I can answer a lot of those questions faster than they can. So I just want to be available for that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and thank you so much for participating.